Time for the NBA Weekly Roundup with Tom Haberstroh. Tom, the Warriors are in trouble. Haven't said that since maybe 2011. 1-5, have not won in that new home of theirs. They got no Curry, no Draymond. What positive, if anything, is going on with the Warriors right now?
Just the revenues from Chase Center. That's it. The season ticket holders, they're probably not too thrilled about the injuries this season. They knew about Klay Thompson coming in. They knew that Kevin Durant was not going to be with the team this year. But Draymond Green having a minor injury that might be major depending on how they decide to categorize it going forward. And then, of course, Stephen Curry out 3 months with the hand injury. Really, this is a lost season for the Golden State Warriors. They have a pick going to the Brooklyn Nets as long as the pick doesn't fall in the top 10. So if the top 10 pick goes to the Warriors, they finish with a bottom 10 record, then the Warriors will hold on to that pick. So that incentivizes the Warriors to do a little bit of a development year, to look at their prospects going into next season and try to, I don't know if the word is tank, but try to rebuild and look to next summer. So this is going to be a really rough season for the Warriors, and they are not going to rush back Stephen Curry, their franchise player, this season. And I certainly believe that Draymond Green will have these minor issues maybe turning into major ones just to keep the weight off those tires and trying to keep the miles off those tires. So look for the Warriors to definitely try to rebuild and maximize the chances that they get that top pick. If they end up with a top 5 pick next year, some in that organization will think of this season as a success going into next year.
Not the people that shelled out the money for the new Chase Center, but you're right. If they can pull off what the Spurs did with Tim Duncan back in the late 90s, that would be something for the Warriors. How about the Rockets? Not a similar situation to the Warriors. They've won half of their games at least, though, but it's kind of a slow start. Defense not looking so good. Is this just not gelling, or is there something more fundamentally wrong with them, you think?
A huge fundamental change from this season to last season was their pace. You know, they got Russell Westbrook and they decided to step on the gas and run teams out of the building. The problem is they got no gas left for the defensive end. They're ranked 29th in defensive rating so far this season. They gave up 150-plus points to the Washington Wizards. I'm going to repeat that. The Washington Wizards scored over 150 points to the Houston Rockets. And last year they got off to a rough start too. They got off to a 11-14 record. But this is the reason why that is different. They got Jeff Bzdelik, their associate head coach last year, to come out of leave, to come back to the bench and reorganize that defense. Jeff Bzdelik is the associate head coach of the New Orleans Pelicans. He is not a free agent, so to speak, and I don't think they're going to make a trade for an assistant coach, and that defense is awful. But offensively, Russell Westbrook and James Harden, it is not going well. With those two guys on the floor, the team is shooting 27% from downtown. They don't have an identity right now. James Harden wants to slow it up. Russell Westbrook wants to run in transition, but they cannot get on the same page. And defensively, they're an absolute mess.
They got time, but not a great start for the Houston Rockets. Although, should we give some of the credit, though, to the Miami Heat, at least for the last game? The Heat now 5-1 on the year. The game in South Florida against the Rockets was 29 points, but maybe it was not as close as that because it was a 41-point lead for the Heat at one point. Are we impressed with the Heat so far?
Super impressed. Their top scorer this season is a guy named Kendrick Nunn, a rookie. Tyler Hero has been fantastic, a rookie out of Kentucky. This is what the Miami Heat do. They get guys off the scrap heap. Hassan Whiteside, Tyler Johnson, Kendrick Nunn, James Johnson. Every team in the NBA could have had James Johnson a couple years ago when they turned him into, a small ball 5 who was, looked like LeBron James on some nights. This is what the Miami Heat do. And I think it's a real testament to Coach Erik Spoelstra and also the organization to find these gems like Kendrick Nunn, who's averaging about 20 points per game after being cut by the Golden State Warriors last year at a training camp. So they continue to find these gems, these diamonds in the rough, and I think it's a really, really impressive start for the Miami Heat. There's a little bit of luckiness on the offensive end and a little bit of unluckiness defensively, but I think they're going to level out, and they're going to be a top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference in my book. They do it on both ends of the floor, playing very hard.
Would you throw Duncan Robinson in there, too, with some of the players who have impressed you for Miami?
Absolutely. A guy who's been a sweet shooter, but a guy who needed to improve defensively, and he's playing really good defensively in that system. And Bam Adebayo is covering up for a lot of mistakes defensively. He is the real deal, a great two-way player, one of the best passing bigs in the NBA.
You get to live in South Florida. The weather's usually good, at least this time of year, and you got a good basketball team. Life is good. Life is good in Philly, too. You picked the 76ers. I like to give you credit, Tom, because you're a good guy, and I like to do that. You said that they would be the best team in the East. Anything to change your mind so far from what we've seen from Philly?
Their defense is as good as advertised. You know, they might not have the best defense, but that's because Joel Embiid hasn't been on the floor for all those minutes yet with those the 2-game suspension as a result of the tussle he had with Karl Anthony Towns. But that Matisse Thybulle rookie is unbelievable. He's leading the NBA in deflections per minute. He pretty much has a steal or a block every single minute he's on the floor. He fits in perfectly with what this team is all about, which is just being active, big on defense. Offensively, the issues are still there. They're not a number one three-point shooting team. They're not close to that. But I think they're going to level out. Josh Richardson's going to shoot better, and I think offensively they have to work out the kinks. But Al Horford has been fantastic in that role, not just as a power forward, but also backing up Joel Embiid when he needs to hit the bench. That's the big difference between this year and last year, is that when Embiid went to the bench during the playoffs and during the regular season, it was absolute field day for opponents. And now that Al Horford is there, man, there you don't catch a break. Opponents have to grind for 48 minutes every time they go against this really, really tall Philly team.
Might be the best rebounding team in the NBA. Where you could have been wrong in your preseason prediction, see, I build you up and then I got to tear you back down, is you said Joel Embiid was going to be the MVP. You left out Luka Doncic. It's been Luka mania so far for the Dallas Mavericks star. Top 5 in scoring and rebounding, top in assists, got a couple triple-doubles. He's been amazing so far.
And he didn't go number 1 last year, which is shocking to me. I can't believe a few teams passed up on Luka Doncic. He looks like he's been playing in the NBA for 10 years. I'm serious. It looks like he has been playing in this league. The savviness on the floor, the timing, the deceleration, the hezzy dribbles where he's just getting guys off balance and attacking. These are things that you need 5-6 years to pick up in the NBA, but he is playing like a veteran. And I think, you know, we forget he's 20 years old. He is not of drinking age yet in the United States. And the thing is, when you look at historically, guys putting up this type of numbers, there's only one name in history that has put up numbers quite like this. LeBron James, when he was 20 years old in the league, he was averaging 27, 7, and 7. 27 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists. And Luka right now is at 27, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists. It's insane what he's doing as a 20-year-old. He's not going to win just one MVP in the league. I think he's going to win at least one by age 25, and I think he's going to win several in the league. He's going to go down as one of the best players of all time. No doubt about it in my mind.
Wow. He's such a unique player to watch and such a fun player to watch as well. Dallas Mavericks have a star with him. Before I let you go, we can have the whole season to talk about trades, but we want to do it within the first week. The Portland Trail Blazers won half of their games, but they're without a couple of their big guys here. Zach Collins having surgery on that shoulder. Nurkic, don't know when he's going to come back. They've been really vague about it. They're missing some height down low. What do they do if you're the Portland Trail Blazers?
You know, I think you got to look at a name like Kevin Love or Blake Griffin. They might not get a center out on the market, but I do think that they need a skilled 4 that can really, anchor that offense. You know, Dame Lillard and C.J. McCollum, they can only do so much out of the backcourt. They need someone skilled to make plays at the 4 position. They need a third star if they want to win a championship, in my opinion. So they have a lot of assets they can put into a trade. So watch Kevin Love, who is a Portland native, a guy who is on a rebuilding team. I do not expect him to finish out the year in Cleveland. According to sources, he is going to be the biggest name in the next couple months as we go into the trade deadline that teams are going to check in on, because he's been playing very well, and we do know that he has an injury history that the Cleveland Cavaliers have to sell high at this point. When he's playing well, that's when his trade value is at its highest. And I think the Portland Trail Blazers are a really interesting destination for him this season. And also, watch out for Blake Griffin, another name that is on a bloated contract but could help a contender.
The fastest 10 minutes in basketball, the NBA Weekly Roundup. Thanks, Tom.
You got it. Anytime.